Hey guys, it's Ishan from FTC Team 9794 Wizards.exe, and today we're going to be talking to you a little bit about how we charge our phones. Through outreach and through competitions, we've gathered some phones that we use for training or outreach robots, and we need to be able to keep them juiced up so then they're ready for competition or whatever events we're using them for. We've created the 16 phone TSTAK charger that allows us to keep all of our phones charged up at the same time and only uses 2 power outlets, which can be great for competitions. Here in this tutorial, we're going to be teaching you a little bit about how to make it and how to use it effectively in order to make your team more successful. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need in order to make the phone charging station. So over here we've got a TSTAK from DeWalt. I will show you exactly which one it is in the link in the description below. But this is where we're going to keep our entire phone charging system. We also have 2 of these 8-port USB hubs that are powered, and this allows us to charge up our phones. So we can charge a total of 16 phones since we have 2 of these. You're also going to need to print out all the parts that are on Thingiverse, linked in the description below. And so each name is going to have a number followed by a letter. So it'll say like 4X part A. That just means print out 4 of that part. So make sure that you print enough of those parts. You're also going to need a bunch of screws. So we've got 6/32 screws that are between 0.3 and 0.4 inches long. A 0.25 inch screw would probably work. You don't need anything very long. And then we also have USB cables. So we got these nice ones from Amazon. I'll link them in the description below, but they're nice and colored. They're flat cables, and they work really well for this project. So now I'm going to put up a diagram of exactly what parts are going to get plugged into where and how the layout of the different parts for the phone charger are laid out. So how the phone charger works is there's groups of 4 of these parts. And so what you're going to want to do is lay them out as per the diagram that I'm showing right now. And this diagram shows you which parts go where in the phone charger. So let's go ahead and get assembled. So in this top left part, in my top left, which is your bottom right now, I'm going to be showing you the parts that go in the top left of the TSTAK. So that's part C, A. And so I'm going to show you how we assemble these parts. Take these brackets, and you take a couple of your 6/32 screws. The 6/32 screws just go into the bracket, and then what you can do is you can just take your Allen wrench and you can thread the 6/32 screw into the 2 holes that are on the top of the bracket. So let me do that right now. And so you'll feel a little bit of pressure because you're creating threads inside of the part, but that's okay. It shouldn't break as long as you print it with a high enough quality printer. So as you can see, the screw's in there, it's not coming out, and now I've got this bracket there that I can attach all the other parts in this quadrant to. So let's go ahead and attach every other part. You're going to need a bracket for both sides. So we'll do 8 screws on one side and 8 screws on the other. Now that we've gotten the top left quadrant or bottom right in your frame quadrant done, we're going to finish up all the other quadrants. I'll leave the diagram up on the screen for another 10 seconds. That way you know which parts go where. You're just going to screw in the screws with the brackets and put them together like this. So now that we've got our 4 quadrants bolted up, got the brackets on there, we're going to move on to installing them into the case or into the TSTAK. But before we do that, I just wanted to share one tip. See, I've got all the part numbers labeled on the backs of the brackets. I would recommend doing that because it really makes it easier to figure out which bracket is which. It's hard to differentiate them just by looking at them. So I highly recommend labeling them with what part number they are as they come off the printer. So now that we've got the quadrants assembled, we're going to start placing them into the TSTAK. The first thing that you want to do is take your 2 power connectors, the 8-volt and the 8-port USB hubs, and just place them down in the TSTAK, one on each side. That's how we're going to do it. Another thing that I highly recommend doing is we've got this little cutout back here. I don't know if you can see that. Can they see that? Yep. So This cutout, we routed it out in order to allow the power wires to come out from the back, and it really worked well for us. We just used a Dremel with a side cutting bit on it, but you can do whatever you need to make a hole in the back for these wires to come out. So we also glued the wires down. I would recommend doing that after you put in the pieces. So we're going to start putting in the pieces. And so I believe this is the first piece that's going to go in this quadrant right here. So you just place the piece down, and it should fit just snugly into the TSTAK. All right. Next, we're going to place this piece. This piece goes down here. And what it's going to be doing is it's going to be applying pressure on this USB hub. And that's going to force the USB hub to not move. And it also forces these things to not move. So even though I'm not putting any glue down on these 3D printed parts, they're not going to be moving because they're both applying a force this way. So we can do the same thing for the last two places. This one goes right here. This one goes right here. It's my bad. And then this one goes right here. And again, in that diagram that I showed earlier, you can actually see what goes where in order to make sure that it fits in well. And I've made all the contours fit the bottom of the TSTAK, so they're not going to be shifting around. So now that we've got the 4 quadrants in, the USB hubs in, you can glue down the wires of the USB hub so then they stick to the side. Hot glue didn't work the best for us, but you could use like super glue or hot glue or whatever you want to stick them down. We can take the cables and we can just plug them right in. I recommend starting from the bottom and working your way up. And if you have like colored phones, you can like color coordinate them. I'm just going to plug in one for demo's sake, and then we can figure that out from there. So how these plug in is you're going to need the white part of the cable on the bottom and the open part on the top. And it is a little bit of a tight fit, so you may have to actually either lift up the USB hub. It might be easier just to, actually, sorry, my bad. The white part goes on the top. You might just need to plug in the USB hub and remove the USB hub, plug stuff in, and then put it back in. So that's what I'm going to do here. And then I'll do the same for this other side. This other side, I tried gluing in the USB hub, and it didn't work out too well, so I would not recommend doing that. I would just recommend sticking with not gluing it down. You can see that there's this glue here, but it didn't work out too well, so I'll just remove that. And then just plug in the cables as you need to. So now that I've got all the cables plugged into the USB hub, I can just drop the USB hub back in. If you want to glue it, you can. You don't need to. And now I've got all these cables coming out. So it can get a little bit messy. So what I like to do is all the cables coming out from this hub, charge phones on this side. All the cables coming out on this hub, charge phones on that side. So let me grab a phone real quick. So now that I've got one of the phones, these are the phones that we use. We 3D printed cases. Again, you can find these cases on Thingiverse. We just put the phone in, and then you can plug it in right in here. And now the phone, once this entire pack is charged up, you can be charging your phone. As you can see here, here's the finished product that you guys just made. It has all 16 phones in it, and you can be charging these all at the same time. We hope you guys learned something from this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at Wizards.exe or contact us on Twitter at FTCteam9794. If you have any problems, just let us know, and we will be happy to help. See you guys later.